there, sports fans. This is Playitright TV, and I'm Kinito Henson. And we are honored, we are privileged to be with someone who is just fresh from the smoke of battle in the FIBA World Cup. None other than our good friend, Gilas head coach Chot Reyes, back on Playitright TV.
Thank you, Kinito. Thanks for having me here. But I think it's now former Gilas head coach.
Okay. Coach Chot, suki ka namin dito sa Playitright TV. We really appreciate it. You're always accessible. You're always free with your thoughts, with your time to share with your fans, your followers, and our viewers. All those who might like you, who may not like you, but just the same, you're always open to interact and to engage our viewers. So for that, we want to thank you very much, Coach Chot. My first question to you is, naturally, how would you assess Gilas' performance in the FIBA World Cup?
I think we improved from 2014 and 2019. The performance of the team, finishing now 24 out of 32, is a marked improvement from the last participation in 2019 and even in 2014. I thought we improved in our placing and in our overall performance. However, we did not achieve what we were mandated to do, which was to get to the Olympics by being the best placed Asian nation. Sure, we got a slot in the Olympic qualifying tournament, but our objective, the mission for which we were hired to perform, which was to be the best placed Asian nation, we did not achieve. And that's on that note, then we were not successful.
And is that the reason, Coach Chot, why you're stepping down as Gilas head coach?
Yes, I always believe for any leader, I give a lot of leadership workshops, executive coaching, and leadership development, Kinito. And I always tell that, and I always remind that to the leaders I have a chance to talk to, is that leaders should take full accountability. If you are hired to perform a certain job, a certain function, then the leader in the end has to take the responsibility and must take accountability for delivering on the results for which he was hired. And in the end, regardless of the reasons, whatever may happen, whether it was within our control or not, in the end, we did not deliver. And that's why it was best for me to step down.
Well, Coach Chot, setting the record straight, you never applied for this job. You never volunteered for this job. What were the circumstances surrounding your appointment as Gilas head coach? Because at that point, Tab Baldwin was the coach of Gilas.
Yes, I remember that very clearly. I was actually relaxing in a beach resort in Batangas because we had just won a championship with Talk and Text, until my phone rings and it was MVP calling, asking me if I wanted to return as Gilas coach. And I said, I have to think about it. And my first question is, why? What's the situation with Coach Tab? So they explained that there was no team, that they were in the process of still talking to Tab. And so I did not say yes immediately, because I said, fix the situation with Coach Tab first. They had a meeting apparently with Coach Tab still that had to be done. And so I said, fix that situation first, and then let's talk again. So I was called to a meeting the next day, and still I did not give I did not accept even until the next day. Until after the meeting was concluded between Mr. Panlilio and Mr. Vargas. And then they told me that yes, the TAP had stepped down, and there was a bit of urgency because the tournament, there was a window in the February 21 or February 22, and it was already February 1 or 2 at the time, and there was no team. There was absolutely no team, and that was a surprise for me. I thought all the while that the team was preparing and practicing. So I was surprised that to find out that there was actually no team with 20 days left, less than 3 weeks before the next window. There was no team. And that's why there was a certain urgency to put a team together. That's why you will recall the very first team that we fielded in the first window that I coached was really comprised mostly of talk and text players, precisely because that was a stopgap measure uh, to make up for the fact that there was no team at present the first time I took over. So you're right, I did not apply for the job, I did not volunteer, um, but I was asked to come in and help the program. And like I've always said, it's very hard to turn my back to the call of flag and country.
Well, talking about the FIBA World Cup ngayon, Coach Chot, in our last game, tinalo natin ang China. And just looking back at the record, head-to-head, Philippines versus China, since the turn of the millennium, I counted 10 meetings between Philippines and China, including FIBA Asia Cup and Asian Games. 5 of those games were won by the Philippines, so 50-50. I'm curious, do you remember, Coach Chot, who was our coach in those 5 wins against China since the turn of the millennium?
Ako, naalala ko. Ikaw, naalala mo ba kung sino yung coach doon?
Actually, tinanong mo sa akin yan. At sabi ko, i-research ko. Pero nakita ko, the common denominator happens to be a certain coach, Chot Reyes. Tama ba yun?
Yes, I have coached against China 5 times since 2007, and I have had a good fortune of winning those 5 games against China.
Well, that game against China, dum pumutok si Jordan Clarkson. Hindi lang siya, no? Everybody seemed to come together. My question, Coach Chot, is it appeared that by that time, the Philippines was starting to peak, and it needed a lot of what you call warm-up games to get everybody gelling together. Now, if Jordan Clarkson and Kai Sotto had have come much earlier than they did, if Jordan Clarkson did not skip one tune-up game, if he did not skip one practice day, do you think it could have made a difference?
It would have made a huge difference. That's why up to the last minute, I was still trying, and we were working with Coach Mike Clarkson to find ways to get Jordan to join the team earlier, because when they told us towards the end of June that the earliest Jordan could leave the US was August 6th, that meant he will be arriving about August 8th. I said that's absolutely unacceptable because that's too late. I mean, that's going to give us less than 2 weeks of practice before opening day. So we were finding ways. We were trying to see if kami na lang ang pupunta doon. If Jordan couldn't come here earlier, then the whole team will go and go to the US to practice, similar to what we did with Andre Blatch in 2014. But that was we faced some logistical problems there, because remember, we were in Lithuania and in Estonia, and then we were also going to China in the first week of August. So the visas couldn't get done enough so that we could quickly enough so that would allow us to all go to the US to train with Jordan. And then we tried to get Jordan to join us in China. We were looking to get one more tune-up game in China so that Jordan can join us maybe August 7 or 8, flying from LA straight to China. But it couldn't get done because we find out that he couldn't get a visa in LA. He had to go to Washington pa to be able to do that. So that defeated the purpose. He was not going to get in anyway on the 8th. So we up to the last minute, we were trying our best to get more time with Jordan, because precisely this was what we feared as a coaching staff, that getting 2 weeks of practice with Jordan is just not enough.
Well, to put it frankly and bluntly, Coach Chot, the inability of Jordan Clarkson to join our team earlier, did that mean that lahat yung mga pinagtrabahuhan ninyo at lahat yung mga learnings na napulot ninyo in Lithuania, Estonia, and China kind of like went down the drain? Because when Jordan Clarkson came, nag-iba ulit yung sistema na dapat natin gawin. Is that a correct assessment kung ano nangyari?
Well, not totally, because as you would see, the games of Dwight Ramos, AJ Edu, Renza Bando, they were stellar. Even the performance of Junmar Fajardo, that was a different Junmar Fajardo that we saw in the World Cup. And I think that was a product of really all of the learning and the preparation and the training in those places that we went to in Europe and in China. Um, However, we couldn't escape the fact that Jordan is such a big piece of the offense that it was really going to be a struggle for the offense to function as smooth as possible. And so you would see that I think we led the league in turnover, assist to turnover ratio. We had like the lowest number of assists and one of the highest in turnovers. The offense was not as smooth as it was when we were in China, and we knew this. We knew that this was going to be a problem. Precisely because Jordan would be such a big part of the offense. But it's not only Jordan, Kinito. Remember, it's also Kai couldn't join us early. In
Yes.
fact, Kai joined us later than Jordan did, and also even Scotty. Even Scotty. But for us, Scotty was with us the whole time. He was just not injured. He was just not fully participating because of his injury. So these are the factors really that contributed to the way we performed. But I would like to repeat, we knew this coming in, and so we did other things to mitigate this, and that's why we still competed. I mean, think about it. We're already playing against stronger teams, taller teams, more athletic teams, and then we're suffering from the handicap of the lack of preparation time with our key players, and still we were in every game that we played. And that's really testament to the effort of the other players, and really the game planning that we prepared to still be able to compete even amid all those limitations and all those restrictions. We were not going to use it as an excuse. We knew that that was going to be a problem coming in, and so we tried to find other ways to counteract and mitigate that problem. And unfortunately, we fell short, and that was, unfortunate in the Dominican Republic game that Jordan Clarkson fouled out in the last 5 minutes. What if the referee didn't make those terrible calls that led to his fouling out? What if we had Jordan in the end game against Dominican Republic, right? Might have been different story.
Yeah. On the positive side of things, Coach Shot, the game against Italy, we lost by 7 points to a team where in the last two games that the Philippines played against Italy, we lost by 37 and 46. So those were blowout losses by the Philippines to Italy. Yet we brought Italy down to the wire. Now, how much of a satisfaction and gratification is that, not only for you as a coach, but also for the players, that we were able to hold our own against, I think Italy was ranked number 10 in the world at that
Yep.
point. Coach Chuck.
Yes, we knew we would be competitive. We knew because of our practice, because of our training, our preparation, our game plan, we knew we would be competitive. We knew we with all of the problems that we faced, even with the lack of preparation time with our key players, we would still be competitive because we prepared we defended well. We could rebound against those teams. We would find other ways to score, even if they would consistently shut down Jordan. But it was really very gratifying to see the players battling the Italians on even terms all throughout. Unfortunately, at that point, the pressure and the expectation was just too much that we really felt everyone had given up on us. And so we tried to keep rallying the players to say, no, the Olympic dream is still alive. Japan won one game, we are still zero, but yeah, the Olympic dream is still alive. Yun lang talaga when it becomes such a big load emotionally and psychologically already. When you give your best 3 games, you are right there, and then you have no win to show for it. To top it all, you're playing in front of your home crowd, you're playing at home, So, all of these things nagpatong-patong. It was just such a big emotional burden and psychological load for all of us, myself included, to carry. And I'm sure it certainly had its toll on the players as well.
Again, talking about some positive notes on the Philippines campaign in the FIBA World Cup, which player surprised you the most, Coach Chot, in terms of what that player delivered during the FIBA World Cup?
Everyone is marveling at really how well Renz Abando and AJ Edu played. But the reality was, we already saw in our tune-up matches what they could do. Diba? In Europe, in Estonia, in China, they were already showing us glimpses, and even in the friendlies here in Manila, they were already showing us what they could do as players. So I personally was not that surprised because I knew their capabilities. So it's such a great cause of satisfaction for me to know that these guys are growing and they're learning. And in fact, that was my message to them before the China game, because nakikita ko all of the negativity was really getting to the players' minds already. And at the post-game huddle, after post-practice huddle, our final practice before China, I told them, this game means a lot for you individually, for the players. It may not mean a lot in the overall standings, in the scheme of things. But I said, for you, it means a lot for your individual careers as players. And I told them, don't worry about me. I'll be fine. Sabi ko, wag niyo ako isipin. Think about your own careers. Think about, if you continue to play well and we beat China, what will this mean for you, Dwight, and for AJ, and for you, Renz, and for every other player on this team. So, surprised, pleasantly, very happy, yes, but not really, because nakita na namin and we already knew from the tune-up games that these players put themselves in that position. They worked hard, and they were bound to really play well.
So Renz and AJ Edu would be those guys. But talking about surprises, Coach Chot, were you surprised that the world number 1 defending champion Spain, world number 3 Australia, world number 5 France all got eliminated and not even made it to the quarterfinals?
My biggest surprise was France not even making it to the second round, right? So that was really a big surprise. And then I knew Spain really didn't seem to have the depth of the roster and the talent they used to have before. But I thought Australia would make it to the Final Four. That was I was sure France would make it to the quarterfinals, and I thought Australia would make it to the Final Four. Those were big surprises for me. But that just gives you an idea of how strong the competition is, right? The lalakas talaga. These are really world-class teams. And so I know some people are saying ang layo pa talaga ng Pilipinas sa basketball, sa iba. I beg to disagree. Ang lapit na natin. Ito, ang lalakas na lang ng mga to. These other teams, they are getting better, they're getting stronger, and we're right there. I mean, what if we had Clarkson and Kai for 1 month? Diba? What if we had them? Kaya, so with all of our problems, we were right there in every game, that even the game na natambakan tayo ng South Sudan, we still got it to within 4 points in the last quarter. Right? We were right there in every game that we played. So, take a look at the standings, take a look at the improvement over the years. We're there. Sumasabay yung Pilipinas. Hindi tayo naiiwan. We're right there with the other teams. I mean, take away the emotion, the drama, all the hatred. If you look at it objectively and you look at the numbers, I think you will see we're right there.
and the PBA, Coach Chot. First of all, you are going to come back as TNT coach. And secondly, with what's happened to the Gilas campaign in the FIBA World Cup, do you think the PBA should adopt maybe a few more FIBA rules just to be able to get our players more familiar with the kind of play internationally? So again, the first question was, are you coming back to TNT? And secondly, what new rules would you suggest to the PBA to adopt from FIBA?
Yes, I am coming back to Coach TNT in the next conference. I just don't know how soon. The plan is for Coach Jojo Lastimoso to still continue to start the conference, and then we'll figure out when is the right time for me to take over if the need arises. As for your second question, that's been a constant source of communication between myself and Commissioner Willie Marshall. And yes, I would say that the PBA is open to it. We just need to continue talking, and I think the Board of Governors, with the support they're giving the national team now, they're all in now for the Asian Games. Nakita mo naman, di ba? Even Governor Al Francis Chua is sitting in as team manager. Commissioner Marshall is also sitting in as deputy team manager. So they're really all in, and I keep reminding them that one of the most real ways that they can continue supporting the national team, aside from making players available, is by adopting FIBA rules, playing the FIBA way. Maybe we can keep the 48 minutes, maybe we can keep the 6 fouls, but even the way we call traveling, even the way we call the fouls, what's a foul, what's not a foul, what's allowed, what's not allowed, I think it will go a long way if we adopt more FIBA rules.
What about players calling timeouts and also the coaching challenge?
I think the coaching challenge is a good idea. The players calling timeouts, I think that's really a marketing thing. That's more for TV more than anything. The number of timeouts. So that's I would leave that to the marketers, the professionals, to decide. But yeah, I would agree that the more we play the FIBA way, and so on down the line, even in the UAP, the NCAA, high school, we should already be playing that way.
Well, Coach Chot, nabanggit mo Asian Games. Your assistant coach, Tim Cohn, for the FIBA World Cup, is now the head coach of the Gilas team, and he said you gave your blessing for that. What are the prospects of the Philippines moving up the ladder in the Asian Games, considering that number one, South Korea is very well rested, hindi nga sila naglaro sa FIBA World Cup. China is going to defend its home court, and coming off a 21-point loss to the Philippines in the FIBA World Cup, they want revenge. You can see it. Jordan, walang naipanalo sa FIBA World Cup, and Ronde Hollis Jefferson wants to make sure that they beat the Philippines because kahiya-hiya yung nangyari sa Jordan. Ganon din yung Iran, wala din silang panalo. Wow, that's going to be a loaded deck facing the Philippines in the Asian Games. How do you think they're going to fare? And do you think there's going to be a lot of hatred again coming from social media?
I don't think so, because I think now the SBP did a really good job in preparing the public for the announcement of Tim as the new coach, and I'm very glad that Tim accepted, because I really feel he's the best man for the job right now, because he's already there within the system. He knows the players. They're just going to continue, and then he'll put in his own Tim Cohn brand of coaching. With Justin Brownlee being there, I think we really have a good shot, because I don't think the other NBA players are going to be with their teams in Asia. Yes, China will be a problem. I think Japan will be a problem, to be very honest, the way they're playing. If they have the complete lineup, but I don't think Watanabe will be able to play because he will be in the NBA. So that's good for us. But I think we will go deep. We will make some damage in the Asian Games. I'm really looking forward to us medaling in the Asian Games. Maybe Philippines-China finals, but that's not far-fetched as far as I'm concerned.
But you mentioned Justin Brownlee. Just moving forward, he's 35 years old now, and looking forward to the Olympic qualifying tournament. We don't know who's going to be coaching the Philippines in that competition, and even beyond the Olympic qualifying tournament. What do you think should be the kind of import we will require for the national team? Maybe not an NBA player, because their time is really quite limited in terms of training with the national team because of the NBA restrictions. What do you think, Coach Chot? Who is the ideal naturalized player for the Philippines?
I think what we saw with Justin in our tune-ups in Europe was that we would be pretty formidable with Justin as long as we have our front line intact. Uh, and then we have to make sure that the other players are there as well. But you're right. Having said that, Justin is good. He's going to be there. He's going to be a resident naturalized player. Ange Kwame is always going to be there as the backup. But I don't think it will hurt to have another 6'9", 6'10" guy, an athlete in the mold of what Andre Blatch gave us in 2014. Should not be an NBA player, but that's easier said than done. Kasi what kind of contract will that player be given? What kind of financial arrangement will that player accept? Because he cannot be here the whole year doing nothing because there is no year-round competition. It's only windows, very sporadic, and some competition. So those are the problems that we faced. When even before the World Cup, we were already toying with the idea of getting a 6'9", 6'10" athlete as an extra naturalized player. But we'd always come up with that problem on, those practicalities. When he asks, okay, so if I'm now playing in Europe, I give up this my European contract, for what? For example, now, after the Asian Games, when is the next window? When is the OQT? In June or whenever? So what will that import or that naturalized player be doing from, say, January next year to June? Those are the practicalities that we have to work through it. And it's not as simple as, unlike in Japan, they have all those guys as imports in their tournament, which goes on practically the whole year. So there's no question on salaries, and because they are making their money all throughout. Same thing in Korea, same thing in Europe, di ba? So sa atin, because we have a very different format, it's not as simple.
Well, my last question to you, Coach Chot, is your take about social media. You've been the recipient of very unfair comments from social media. But after the win against China, we've also seen that a lot of positive feedback coming from social media saying, congratulations, Coach Chot. How do you, in terms of your mind, how do you cope with a situation like this that's so volatile, and people can be very irreverent in social media because there really is no accountability. There really is no responsibility for what you say, because you can hide behind different handles. But you being the recipient of all of this unfair hatred, this has certainly affected you and your family. But just looking ahead, how has this also toughened you and made you even firmer in your resolve to be a better person?
First of all, I'm not as affected because I'm out of Twitter. I don't have a Facebook. I've deactivated my Facebook and my Twitter account, so I'm not. I don't have a TikTok, so I'm not. I'm uh, I'm immune to it because I don't see it. However, my family is the one that's affected, and those close to me, they're the ones who are reading it, and they're the ones the recipient of it, and that's the sad part because they have nothing to do with this, di ba? But pati sila na naapektuhan, ba't sila na natatamaan toxicity and all of the negativity that is aimed against me. So that's the first point. That's how I insulate myself. Secondly, I am very secure in the fact that those people either don't know what's going on or they're just haters. And in any endeavor, in anything worth doing, there will always be haters, no matter what we do. Eh dito nga, as I found out, even pati nga yung pagsuot ko na walang kinalaman naman sa coaching, tinira pa rin, di ba? So, I mean, that's just the fact that in some people's minds, there's nothing that you can do right. And if that's the case, then I have no use and I have no time for those people. I absolutely do not care what their opinions are of me. I saw somebody sent me the post of I think that was Dion Sanders, who said, "Do I look like a guy who gives a blank about what other people think of me?" Right? So for me, that's kind of the attitude that I'm taking. That that's everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and it is a reflection of. For those who don't know any better, their passion for Philippine basketball and how much they love our national team. For those who know better and still engage in it, my stance always is, God bless them. I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. I hope they do not they or any of their children or any of their relatives or any of their loved ones do not suffer the same fate, because it is brutal, to be very honest, but just by the way people are talking about it. But in the end, that's the reality of it. That's the sadness of something that should be used for good, for the public good, is being used just to tear people down. But like you said, in the end, my attitude towards it is that all of the things that they're saying against me are not going to break me. And if it doesn't break me, then it's going to make me stronger. And in the end, I'm here. I am enjoying my time with my grandkids. I'm healthy, knock on wood. My family, my kids are healthy. We have a roof over our heads. I just enjoyed a nice round of golf this morning. I am able to enjoy life. There is a lot for me to be grateful for, and I really have no time or energy for those people who just have nothing better to do.
There's also a lot. There's also a lot for the Philippine basketball community to be thankful for in having Coach.
Oh yeah,
Chot
on that point, Tinito, thank you for bringing it up. Since the China game, the deluge of thank you letters, emails, direct messages. I have my LinkedIn account, all of the things, text messages, Viber from unknown people, and even when I'm walking outdoors and I was in the Mall of Asia the other night, the warmth of the people around me saying thank you and how much they appreciate me, saying not to worry about what the others are saying, because in their words, mas marami pa rin kaming naniniwala sa iyo at nagpapasalamat. That really fills my heart, and that really makes it all worth it.
Well, you said filling your heart. Coach Chot Reyes, you have always personified puso. And that's what you're all about. And that's what the entire Philippine basketball community is thankful for and grateful for. So thank you very much, Coach Chot. Just, before we end this episode, we have videos of clips of the Philippines-China game. But I have to squeeze in this question. Pakatapos ng laro, I saw you grab the ball. Did you get that ball and bring it home?
Yeah, Kiefer gave me the game ball. What a great gesture on Kiefer's part to grab the game ball. He gave it to me, so I had all the players sign it, and it's here. It's here somewhere, so I have it.
Yeah, I saw that. Well, Coach Chot, again, thank you very much. And I'm sure this is not the last that we'll hear from you. With all what you've learned in your FIBA World Cup experience and your vast international experience, the SBP is going to call on you to give them guidance, to give them hope, to give them advice. And I hope the entire Philippine community, basketball community, will hope that you will always be ready and accessible to help out in any way, as you've always done.
I assured President Al Panlilio I'm available to help in any capacity, even not in an official capacity. I don't need a title, nothing. If I told him if he just needs somebody to bounce ideas off or whatever, I'll be available for them.
Again, thank you very much, Coach Chot Reyes. We're very proud of Gilas and the performance in the FIBA World Cup. Thanks, Coach Chot. Let's show that video right now.
Otto by Clarkson. Back to the big man, bumping. He's got to go up with it, surely. And Juma finishing under the basket. It's up. Three, it's good in the corner. Soto bumps, ends up throwing it away. Rondo battling. Soto comes up with it again. Finishes with a Kyreem the Dream Fangarol foul here. And Ravenna happy to dribble out. And Maga Dagabi. Good night, Manila. That is for you. And try to go for one more. Ravenna, three. Doesn't get it for St. Dwight. Ramos with a follow-up. Laban Pilipinas. Puso. They pick up their first
21-point victory. Coach Chot Reyes, your last game as Gilas head coach, a victory over China.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks again, Coach Chot.
Thank you.
Well, that ends our episode with Coach Chot Reyes. Wow, he revealed a lot of things. We didn't know that the Philippines even thought of the idea of going all the way to the U.S. to train with Jordan Clarkson just to make sure that he was already involved with the team ahead of time. But of course, as Coach Chot said, logistical problems made that very difficult to undertake. But so many other things that we learned from Coach Chot Reyes. And well, that ends the chapter of Coach Chot Reyes as the Gilas head coach. And we move forward. There's the Asian Games with Coach Tim Cohn, and then the Olympic qualifying tournament. We still don't know who will be coaching our national team, but just the same, whatever happens, Playitright TV will always be there to give you the news, to give you the action, and to share with you the insights of those who make history in the world of Philippine sports. And with that, I want to thank you again for joining us on Playitright TV. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe. This is Kinito Hanson saying, play it right all the time.